Hey, what's up guys? I'm BTC. Season 3 of the competitive ladder is just about to end, and with it goes the tank meta. When Season 4 picks up next week, get ready to welcome our new robot overlords, because we're going to be going into the Bastion meta. Over on the PTR, Bastion had some pretty big changes, and it looks like those changes are going to be pushed through to the live server. I already made a video completely explaining all of the changes to Bastion, so I'll put a link to that on the screen and down below so you can go and check it out after you're done watching this. In this video, however, I want to talk about how these changes to Bastion are going to drastically affect the high-level meta and the standard lineups. For a while now, we've had something known as the tank meta. The standard picks for that were Reinhardt, Ana, and Lucio. The rest of the lineup usually consisted of some combination of Zarya, D.Va, Roadhog, Soldier 76, and Tracer. Most of the rest of the characters were rarely, if ever, used, and many of those had a pick rate of 5% or less. The reason why the tank meta was so strong is because of Ana. All of the other healers in the game had a slow but consistent healing. Ana added something that previously had not been in the game: burst healing. Her biotic grenade and strong left-click healing combined with nano boost made it so a lineup with a lot of tanky, high-health characters could be kept alive for a very long time. Also, she could keep a tank alive even when they were taking a significant amount of damage thanks to the burst healing from the biotic grenade. The entire way of playing the game was changed when Ana was added to the roster. Ana was a meta-defining character. I feel the exact same thing is going to happen with this new version of Bastion. The difference is that instead of encouraging a heavy tank lineup like Ana, Bastion is going to do the exact opposite. With the changes that he got, Bastion is significantly more mobile and incredibly good at destroying tanks. This also includes Reinhardt's barrier shield, which just gets absolutely melted by a Bastion in Sentry mode. We'll come back to that in a minute. I'm sure you've seen lots of people talking about how the new Bastion is comparable to Soldier 76, or that he might even be better than him. And really, it depends on the skill level of the player, because I think at lower skill levels of play, Soldier 76 is still going to be better, but at the higher skill levels of play, a Bastion is going to be better. For the most part, the left-click damage of Recon Bastion and Soldier 76 is about the same. The spread on Bastion is a little bit worse, but that really doesn't matter because you're never going to go full auto on an enemy that's far away anyways. You should always be burst firing, so the spread really doesn't matter too much. As for the healing, while Soldier 76 does have the ability to heal his teammates as well as himself, when it comes to keeping yourself alive, Bastion's self-heal is simply much better than Soldier 76's. Bastion also has 100 more health in the form of armor. So not only does he have a better self-heal, he also has a lot more health and armor on top of it. But for Bastion, it gets even better, because while he's in Sentry or Tank mode, he also has a new Ironclad passive, which reduces all damage by 35%. And yes, that does stack with the damage resistance you get from Ana's nano boost. This makes Bastion extremely difficult to kill. I actually made a video showing just how insane this is. I'll put a link on screen and down below so you can check that video out as well. Now, after I made that video about the Immortal Bastion, Blizzard came out and said that they had added a 70% damage resistance cap. This means that Bastion can no longer hit the 85% damage resistance he got from Ironclad and Nano, but even so, he can still get up to 70%, which is still ridiculously strong and makes him unbelievably hard to kill in that form. Also, comparing the ultimates of Bastion and Soldier 76, Bastion's tank mode tends to be better in most situations. One of the problems with Soldier 76 is that his ultimate doesn't really scale that well. If a lower skill player uses it, then it can be really good, but when a high skill player uses it, the impact isn't nearly as great. The reason for this is because the low skill player is going to naturally have bad accuracy on his own, and the ultimate makes up for that. But the high skill player has really good accuracy, and more importantly, that high skill player is able to land a lot of headshots. So when the high skill player uses Soldier 76's ultimate, he sacrifices the ability to do headshots in order for a little bit more accuracy. And while there is no doubt that a nano-boosted tactical visor from Soldier 76 is crazy good, a nano-boosted Bastion tank is essentially an unkillable god of death that shoots nuclear warheads. There really is no comparison. Soldier 76 does have the advantage in mobility from his sprint and burst damage from the Helix rocket, but overall I think Bastion is going to be the better pick in the higher levels of play. So what does all that mean? Well, if Bastion is now a regular pick, it means that the traditional lineup simply doesn't work anymore. It also means that Reinhardt, who has been one of the most powerful characters since the game came out, is now in a much weaker position. I'm definitely not saying that Reinhardt is useless because of Bastion. What I'm saying is that Reinhardt, who normally has an 85 to 95% pick rate, is probably going to see that cut by quite a bit. I would say his new pick rate will probably be somewhere around 60 to 70%. And I think that is the main thing that's going to change the standard lineup and the meta game, making Bastion a meta-defining character. The fact that Reinhardt actually has a very strong and viable counter now means that the whole game is going to change. Dive Comp, which focuses on highly mobile heroes like Winston, D.Va, Genji, and Tracer, are going to continue to see an increase in use, and also a new kind of lineup will likely emerge. This new lineup will be focused on Bastion. I think Zarya would work great in helping to keep the Bastion alive, as well as setting up team-wiping combo ultimates. Zarya is great with that. When you pair a Zarya with a Reaper, a Pharah, or a Hanzo, their ultimate combos can completely wipe out the enemy team. But when you have a Zarya with a Soldier 76, it just isn't nearly as strong. However, Bastion doesn't have that problem. In his tank form, if all of the enemy are grouped up with a Graviton, then they're in a whole lot of trouble, and Bastion is just going to wipe them all out. The current two top supports would likely continue in this lineup. Ana would work really well. Her burst healing and nano boost makes Bastion incredibly powerful. Remember, nano boost on Bastion makes him almost unkillable. Lucio is also very good in pretty much any lineup. Although it's possible that Mercy could also show up. Being able to damage boost the Bastion means that he will be even more devastating. I'm talking specifically about dealing with an enemy Reinhardt shield. A Reinhardt shield would be almost useless to a Bastion who's being damage boosted by a Mercy. If the enemy team is also running a Bastion, you'd probably want a D.Va on your team, but if not, then a Reinhardt would still be a very good pick. The last spot would probably be filled by a high mobility character like Tracer or Genji. While both of these characters aren't particularly good at dealing with the new version of Bastion, killing off the enemy supports would definitely slow down the enemy Bastion lineup. The bottom line is that Reinhardt, who was the core hero in most lineups, is now heavily countered by the new version of Bastion. This is actually really good. Previously, the only way you could really counter a Reinhardt-centered lineup was with your own Reinhardt-centered lineup. So it really wasn't a rock, paper, scissors kind of situation. Instead, it was almost always a mirror match, and this led to boring tournaments with the same characters and the same lineups over and over. Now that there is a character that functions as a hard counter to Reinhardt and his barrier shield, it means that you can't just default to that type of setup. It means that hopefully we should see some more interesting and creative lineups being developed. Things that were never really tried before because the barrier shield was holding it back might actually be useful. And this means that some of the heroes who almost never got any playtime might actually be a lot more viable. So pick out your favorite legendary Bastion skin and start saving up for that golden gun, because like it or not, Bastion is coming. So guys, let me know what you think about the new version of Bastion and the upcoming Season 4 of the competitive ladder. Let me know down below in the comment section. Thank you very much for watching. Hit that like button, share it with your friends, and subscribe because there's lots more Overwatch on the channel. Remember, always blame the controller because it's never your fault.